few weeks ago, I attended the executive program of Singularity University, which is a university in Silicon Valley working on exponentially growing technologies. And I lived head-to-head with robots. I was not really fond with robots at that time, but they were small ones, little drones. We even built one because we were divided in teams in order to create small robots and to have a contest. So I became kind of fond of them. And when I came back home, I decided to start investigating on them. And what I'm going to do is to share some findings. So the first sophisticated mechanical device is called automaton, which is a Greek word that means acting of one's own will. And the founding fathers of these mechanical devices, these automata, were the Egyptians, and then the Assyro-Babylonians, and of course the Greeks. But then this kind of activity started blooming all over the world. And Japanese, Chinese, Incas, Mayas, the Arab world, everybody was starting working on these mechanical devices. Homer was the first one that used the word automaton in order to describe technological findings. He did it for strange doors that were opening, other prototypes, even futuristic machine. And the real star at that time was a statue of the Hellenic mythology called Talos, which was committed by the gods to Hephaestus in order to protect a woman, a Phoenician woman of high lineage. Her name was Europa, and guess where the name Europe comes from? So it was a statue of bronze, and his weapon was to jump in the fire, become very hot, and then kill all the enemies. But this kind of machine, these mechanical devices, were not only kind of toys or a symbol of religion, but they were also tools. And the first one that used these tools was Heron of Alexandria, who was a mathematician who started to use these tools in order to demonstrate his scientific kind of findings. And even Plato used or mentioned these automata. He called them tautomata, because these were kind of surprisingly intellectual and as well were motivating theoretical questions. In my quest of robots, I stumbled upon this machine. What is that? It's the first analog computer that we have. And I have to say that I'm an early adopter. I used computers with Commodore and etc. And I thought I was an early starter. Can you imagine? This machine was used to see constellation and to predict eclipses. This is another very interesting finding because it's the first humanoid robots as the form of a maid, and it's the automatic servant of Philon. And what she does, serves wine, but has this jug that has wine and water. And she serves wine. If the wine is too heavy, she mixes it with water. And of course, this kind of machine inspired many other machines in the future. Another very interesting person was Jabir ibn Hayyan, who was very prolific in making automata, but he's well known because he started to make very small ones, in the form of small animals, like snakes and spiders. Of course, he did it for the kids, playing with the younger siblings and to scare them. And a big contribution that the Arab Golden Age brought to the science of robotics was that until the Greeks, the robotics was just to entertain and just to, let's say, to inspire. But with the Arab Golden Age, the robotics became a sort of usage for the common human comfort. Actually, the Arabs started to use it to manipulate the environment for human comfort. Then, in the medieval times, the automata were still a kind of acting business, but it was Leonardo da Vinci that really made a breakthrough. Because he built a robot. You know that Leonardo was very fond on studying the human body. So he made a very interesting robot, very well done, which is still a kind of basis for NASA doing their anthros, human bots, mechanical. And NASA admit that he's still working a little bit on Leonardo da Vinci's findings. But the guy that really made a difference was a French guy at the end of 18th, beginning 19th century. And he did very intricate mechanical devices. But this one is very well known because it's a duck. And it's a real replica of a duck. But this duck can move the heads, the wings, the tails, can stand up, can even drink water. But he built a complete digestive system inside the duck. The duck could eat, digest, and could even evacuate. And it was very interesting and very important because finally the masses knew that it was possible for a human being to create an artificial creature. And of course, from him, many mechanical devices were building up, and they paved the road on where we are today with robotics. But of course, all of these machines are triggering something that I would like to share with you, which is fear. It's a kind of common knowledge that the majority of people is afraid that the machine, together with the artificial intelligence, are going to kind of overpower humans or attack humans. What I would like to do, actually, is to demystify a little bit this fear, and I would like to talk about what's happening today. I will give you a little glimpse of robotics today. I'm not a scientist, so I cannot give you very precise things, but I will give you a little information. First of all, robotics is very important today for education, but it's becoming essential for health. It's becoming essential because we have robotics in the surgeon room, helping the surgeon, for nurses, taking care of kids and taking care of old people. Also, it's becoming very important because the healed person can talk to the doctor even if the doctor is not there, so we're virtual doctors, and it's very important. Then it's important as well in the house. Please meet my own personal robot. I call her Matilda. She's a cleaning robot, and she is programmed to go in my place and clean when I'm not home. And when it's finished, she goes by herself to recharge, and I don't have to do anything. The only problem is if I go home and she's still working, we stumble, and there is a little kind of strange relationship. But of course, robots are also giving a big controversy, because we know that today robots are stealing human jobs, are stealing jobs. And of course, we have two schools of thought, the glass half empty and half full. The half full, the positive one, says that, yes, it's true, we are losing jobs are diminishing, but it's also progress, and progress is going to make new ones, and sooner or later it's going to be a balance. And the negative, the one that are more concerned, of course, they ask, where these workers, constructors, all the people that are losing jobs because robots are going into industry, into companies, what are they going to do? How are they going to find a new job? So it's still a very big controversy because we don't have any answer yet. Peter Diamandis, who's a TED speaker and as well is a very well-known entrepreneur, is actually very positive because he says that we are actually entering in a world of abundance. He says that we have a lot of working forces around us, like, for example, exponentially growing technologies, a kind of attitude or behavior called DIY, do it yourself, that allows you to skip all the bureaucracy. And as well, a lot of techno-philanthropists that are infusing a lot of money in order to solve problems like Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and etc. He says, Peter, that with the exponentially growing technologies, with synthetic biology, with nanotechnologies, artificial intelligence, genetics, etc., what we are doing, what we are entering, is a kind of positive moment, because 20 years of these exponentially growing technologies will do what 200 years of our life didn't do yet. But now it's time to meet my newest friend. I'm in love with him. Look at him. Music. You can jump. You can run. You can go on stairs. is again is to demystify the fact of robots are only the war robots, the one that they are going to attack us. Even Hollywood is working on that, is trying to change the relationship that we have with robots. This is a movie that was out, I think, 2 years ago, and portrays a story between a former retired conman and a robot. And the relationship that they develop actually makes you ponder, makes you think that maybe it's possible to have a kind of sympathetic relationship with them. Although there is a but, of course, if the robots are more and more human-like, similar to humans, what happens is that we become a little reluctant, until to a point that we are kind of uncomfortable. And this kind of cessation is framed under the Uncanny Valley, which means that when you find a robot, or when you encounter a robot that looks like human, but you know that is mechanical, you don't feel very comfortable. I would like to just show one example from Japan. Is Professor Hiroshi Ishiguro from the Intelligent Laboratory of Robotics in Osaka, who's really working on this, making robots very similar to humans. I'm going to mention only this one because I don't want to spoil another talk later. But the point is that, are we comfortable with this kind of robots, to interact with them? Actually, he says that it's the only way that he can study the real interaction between robots and humans. Hello. This is the new kid on the block. It's called Now. It's a tiny robot. And the actual peculiarity of him, of it, her, I don't know how to call it yet, is that it's open source, meaning that you can develop application for his behavior, for how he moves, how to behave. It's pretty neat. So what I would like to say that now we have an app that can develop emotion. Wow. Maybe it's time to call ethics into the play. Maybe it's time to see where ethics or how ethics can come and, I don't want to say start to regulate, but at least to guide, because we are in a moment where ethics is very important. The challenge is that ethics at this moment is not going at the same pace of exponentially growing technology. Ethics is going slower. And each time ethics start to catch up with technology, technology is already gone in another place. So what do? We cannot live ethically free. What can we do? I have an hypothesis, which is actually the study I'm doing for my PhD. But before telling you my hypothesis, let me tell you a story, a personal story. I'm a mother of a 21-year-old son, and 20-year-old son, and we were discussing his future, of course. And then he said, you know, Mom, I considered to apply to the 2024 program. I said, okay. Then he explained me what is the 2024 program. Do you know what is it? You don't. It's a program that they are making in order to aggregate a little community to go to Mars and colonize Mars. It's a one-way journey. So when he told me, I said, okay, because you have to be calm. And I start thinking, oh my God, Skype to Mars, what kind of broadband do I need? How can I do that? Oh my, mamma mia, in Italian. So, of course, you won't go to Mars. I mean, I'm an Italian mother, so you won't. But made me ponder and made me think that we are not really, we are living in a sort of science fiction, because having a son saying, Mom, I'm going to go to Mars to colonize Mars, it's a kind of science fiction. So back to ethics. How can we have ethics in our time? Probably ethics could start actually could do a giant leap, start talking with science fiction, meaning that thinkers and philosophers could talk to science fiction authors and trying to depict a nice, happy future for us, and then come back. So maybe we can have less fear, and maybe we can have a nicer future. Researchers are saying that in the future we are going to marry machine. I don't believe that. Let's say that I love my little robot, Matilda. I would like to interact with these two robots we saw before. But still, I would like to have a kind of interaction with humans, with flesh and blood. Because even though this future is coming closer and closer, I don't know if it's time to call it our tomorrow. Thank you very much.